When the restaurant closed and the staff swept the floors, Amara found it, a wallet, half covered in dust. Her first instinct was to call her manager, but curiosity made her pause. Inside were sleek business cards embossed with Adrian Cole, CEO, Cole Enterprises Limited, several crisp 1,000 Nigerian Nairas notes, and shiny international credit cards. Her rent was due. Her mother's hospital bills hung over her like a storm cloud. This money could change everything. But shame quickly replaced temptation. The next morning, clutching the wallet, she boarded a Danfo to Victoria Island. When she finally stood before the glass walls of Cole Enterprises Tower, she felt small, almost invisible. Inside, the receptionist's smirk was sharp enough to cut. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, Ma. I just came to return something I found." Minutes later, 2 security guards appeared. "You're the one with the wallet?" one asked, suspicion in his eyes. Amara swallowed hard. She had no idea that this single act of honesty would change her life forever. "Sit tight. Let me tell you an interesting story. It's about a poor girl, a lost wallet, and a billionaire whose heart was colder than steel. Until she changed everything. Watch till the end. This one will touch your heart. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so more people can feel this story too." The afternoon sun hung lazily over Lagos Island, turning the sky into a soft gold haze. The hum of life never stopped here. The horns, the shouting traders, the Danfo buses swerving through traffic as if chasing their last breath. Somewhere among that chaos, Amara Okafor wiped sweat from her forehead and balanced a tray of steaming jollof rice plates as she hurried between crowded tables at Benny's Kitchen, a small roadside restaurant tucked behind Balogun Market. She'd been on her feet since morning, her cheap black shoes biting into her heels, but she dared not complain. Each extra shift meant a little more money toward her mother's hospital bills. Her mother, Mama Grace, had been admitted 2 weeks ago for complications from diabetes. Every night, Amara prayed that the 4 drips and the medications were enough, that somehow she'd wake up one morning to find her mother smiling again, strong enough to walk home. But life in Lagos had taught Amara that prayers often came second to survival. "Amara, a beg, table 4-day complain oh," shouted her manager, Auntie Beezy, from behind the counter. "I'm coming, Ma," Amara replied, forcing a smile as she hurried to deliver a cold bottle of Coke to a customer tapping impatiently on his phone. The man didn't even look up when she placed it down. He simply waved her off like she was invisible. She bit her tongue, swallowed her pride, and went back to the kitchen. This was her life, a 25-year-old university dropout serving plates of rice to people who barely noticed her existence. When her father died years ago, leaving behind nothing but debts, Amara had vowed to finish school no matter what. But reality had other plans. Her mother's illness drained every naira they had saved, and soon, her dream of getting a degree in business administration faded into the background. All she wanted now was to keep her mother alive. By the time the lunch rush was over, her legs felt like lead. She leaned against the wall near the kitchen, pulling out her small Nokia phone to check for messages. Maybe the hospital had called. Nothing. Only a text from her landlord reminding her that rent was due in 3 days. Her stomach twisted. "How much have I saved?" she whispered, opening the tiny savings app on her phone. The number blinked back, 8,450 Nigerian Nairas. Not even close. Amara. She jumped. It was Auntie Beezy again, waving a paper receipt. "Take this to that big man outside, the one in the black Jeep. He say you should bring the balance." Amara nodded and walked out to the roadside seating area. Parked nearby was a shiny Range Rover Sport, tinted windows reflecting the afternoon light. A man stood beside it, tall, clean-shaven, dressed in a gray suit that looked too expensive for this neighborhood. He was on the phone, his deep voice sharp and commanding. "Yes, fire them all if the report isn't ready by tomorrow," he barked into the phone. "I don't pay people to waste my time." Amara hesitated, clutching the bill. She'd seen men like him before, rich, impatient, always angry. She waited quietly until he ended the call, then stepped forward timidly. "Good afternoon, sir." "Your bill," she said. He glanced at her briefly, nodded, and pulled a wallet from his pocket. It was sleek black leather, with a faint shine of wealth. He slipped out a few naira notes, handed them to her, and got into his jeep. The car roared to life and pulled away from the curb. Amara counted the money. He had overpaid by a lot. "Sir." "Wait," she called, waving, but he was already gone, swallowed by Lagos traffic. She sighed and tucked the money into the receipt folder, deciding she would return it later if he came back. She went back inside, unaware that something else had fallen from his pocket, something small and dark that landed quietly on the ground near the gutter. Hours later, when the restaurant closed and the staff swept the floors, Amara found it, a wallet, half covered in dust. Her first instinct was to call her manager, but curiosity made her pause. She opened it carefully. Inside were sleek business cards embossed with Adrian Cole, CEO, Cole Enterprises Limited, several crisp 1,000 Nigerian Nairas notes, and shiny international credit cards. The weight of it made her heart skip. A billionaire's wallet. In her hands. She blinked, unsure whether to laugh or cry. Her rent was due. Her mother's hospital bills were hanging over her head like a storm cloud. This money could change everything. Her fingers trembled as she stared at the notes. For a fleeting second, she imagined herself paying the hospital, seeing her mother smile, eating a hot meal without worrying about tomorrow. But almost immediately, shame washed over her. Mama Grace's voice echoed in her head. "Amara, no matter how poor you are, don't let the devil use your hunger to steal your soul." Tears filled her eyes. "I can't, Mama," she whispered. "I can't do that." She looked again at the business card. Cole Enterprises. That name rang a bell. They had one of the tallest office buildings in Victoria Island. She had seen it once while taking a bus to drop off a job application. She remembered thinking it looked like heaven on earth, glass walls shining like diamonds in the sun. The next morning, after dropping off a bowl of pap at the hospital for her mother, Amara boarded a Danfo bus heading toward Victoria Island. The wallet was tucked safely in her bag, wrapped in a piece of cloth as though it were something sacred. The bus jolted through potholes, blaring Afrobeats music as passengers argued about fuel prices and the government. Amara sat quietly, staring out the window, rehearsing what she would say. "Good morning, sir. You dropped your wallet yesterday." Would they even let her into the building? Someone like her, in faded jeans and a simple blouse? She had no idea. When she finally arrived, the building loomed over her, glass glinting under the morning sun. The Cole Enterprises Tower stood like a monument to wealth. She felt small, almost invisible. The receptionist looked her over from head to toe, her red lipstick curling into a smirk. "Yes. Can I help you?" I came to return something." To Mr. Adrian Cole, Amara stammered, clutching her bag tightly. The woman raised a brow. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, Ma. But I found his wallet yesterday at Benny's kitchen. Please, I just want to return it." The receptionist sighed dramatically. "Wait here," she said, disappearing behind a glass door. Minutes later, 2 security guards approached. "You're the one with the wallet?" one of them asked, his tone suspicious. "Yes," Amara said, handing it over. "Please, it belongs to Mr. Cole." The guard exchanged a look with his partner, then nodded slowly. "Follow us." Her heart pounded as they led her into a private elevator. She tried not to panic, gripping her purse tightly. When the doors opened, she stepped into an office that looked more like a palace. Wide glass windows overlooking the city, elegant furniture, and a man sitting behind a mahogany desk. It was him. Adrian Cole looked up from his laptop, his piercing gaze sharp as a blade. "So," he said slowly, "you're the one who found my wallet." Amara nodded nervously. "Yes, sir." I wanted to return it. Before she could finish, his tone hardened. You had it since yesterday. Why didn't you return it immediately? Were you planning to take something first? Her lips parted in shock. No, sir. I would never. Security, he interrupted coldly. Check if anything is missing. Amara's heart sank. The humiliation burned in her chest as the guards opened the wallet right in front of her, counting the money like she was a thief. Nothing was missing. But the damage was done. I told you, sir, she whispered, tears filling her eyes. I only wanted to do the right thing. Adrian Cole didn't respond. He just looked at her, a flicker of doubt in his eyes, as she turned and walked away, her head bowed in silent pain. Outside, Lagos traffic roared, indifferent to her tears. She had done the right thing. And somehow, it still felt like she'd lost everything. Lagos traffic roared like a restless beast, swallowing every sound in its path. Amara stepped out of the Cole Enterprises building, blinking back tears. Her chest ached from holding them in, but once she reached the sidewalk, the dam broke. She wiped her eyes quickly, afraid people might see, though in Lagos, no one had time to care about a crying stranger. The words still echoed in her head. Were you planning to take something first? She had never felt so small in her life. She had done the right thing, yet she had been treated like a thief. The humiliation burned more deeply than hunger. She found a quiet spot by the bus stop, sat on a broken bench, and stared blankly at the road. A hawker passed by selling cold sachet water. Amara bought one and pressed it to her eyes before sipping. How long will I keep suffering, Lord? She whispered. I just wanted to help. The thought of her mother brought a sharp ache to her chest. Mama Grace was probably lying in her hospital bed, waiting for her to come. Amara forced herself up and joined the crowd boarding the Danfo heading back to Surulere. Back at the hospital, the air was heavy with the smell of disinfectant and unspoken worries. Mama Grace lay weakly on the bed, a white scarf tied around her head, her eyes half open. When she saw Amara, her lips curved faintly into a smile. My daughter, she said softly. You came. Amara sat by her side and took her hand. Of course, Mama. I brought you Pap and Akira. Her mother's fingers brushed her cheek. You've been working too hard. Don't let life turn your heart bitter. Amara smiled weakly. I'm trying, Mama. She didn't mention the incident at the office. It wasn't worth it. Mama Grace had enough pain already. When she left the hospital that evening, the sky was turning purple, and the sound of distant horns filled the air. She walked the rest of the way home, her slippers scraping the dusty road. At her small one-room apartment, she sank onto the bed and stared at the ceiling. That night, she dreamt of falling into a deep, endless pit where voices accused her of things she didn't do. She woke up crying. Meanwhile, at Cole Enterprises, Adrian Cole sat alone in his office, the city lights of Victoria Island glittering behind him. He had tried to bury himself in work, but his mind kept drifting back to that girl, the one who had returned his wallet. There had been tears in her eyes. Not the kind of tears born of guilt, but pain. He rubbed his forehead and sighed. Maybe I was too harsh, he muttered. His assistant, Nina, entered the office carrying a tablet. Sir, you asked me to confirm the wallet details. Everything is intact. No money missing, all the cards untouched. Adrian nodded slowly. Did you find out where she works? Yes, sir. She works at Benny's Kitchen, near Balagan Market. A small place. He leaned back in his chair, lost in thought. She had gone out of her way to return it. And yet he had accused her like a criminal. He thought about the employees he'd fired earlier that week, all for minor mistakes. Maybe he was too used to being suspicious of everyone. The world of business had made him hard. Everyone wanted something from him. Money, influence, power. It was easier to distrust than to believe. But that girl's eyes, they were honest. Adrian stood abruptly. "Get the car ready," he said. That evening, Benny's kitchen was half full. The sound of sizzling oil and laughter mixed with the hum of generators outside. Amara moved quietly between tables, her face pale from exhaustion. When the door opened and a tall man in a suit stepped in, the whole restaurant seemed to pause. Auntie Beezy hurried forward, smiling broadly. "Good evening, sir." "You're welcome." Amara turned and froze. It was him, Adrian Cole. Her heart began to race. She wanted to run, but her legs wouldn't move. He spotted her immediately and walked over. The noise around them seemed to fade as he stopped in front of her. "Miss Amara, right?" She swallowed. "Yes, sir." "I came to apologize," he said simply. His voice was softer this time, his expression sincere. Everyone in the restaurant turned to watch. Amara blinked, unsure what to say. "I was wrong to accuse you," Adrian continued. "You returned my wallet when you could have kept it. I'm sorry for the way I treated you." Amara stared at him, stunned. "You came all the way here to say that?" "Yes." He reached into his jacket and handed her a small envelope. "Please accept this as my gratitude." She shook her head. "No, sir. I didn't do it for money." "I know," he said quietly. "But take it anyway. You deserve it." Amara hesitated, then took the envelope politely. "Thank you." He nodded and turned to leave, but something made him pause. "Is your mother doing any better?" Her eyes widened. "How did you?" "I asked around," he said. "If there's anything she needs, please let me know." And before she could respond, he was gone. When Amara opened the envelope later that night, she gasped. Inside was a check, 500,000 Nigerian nairas. Her mind spun. That was more than she'd ever seen in her life. Her rent, her mother's bills, everything could be settled. She fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you, Jesus," she whispered. But deep down, a small voice whispered, "Nothing in life comes without a price." Days passed. Her mother's health improved after Amara settled the hospital bills. Benny's kitchen buzzed with gossip about the mysterious billionaire who had come looking for her. "Ah, Amara, you are lucky, oh," one of the waitresses teased. "That fine man might marry you one day." Amara laughed it off, but the thought embarrassed her. She had no interest in fairy tales. She just wanted peace. Still, Adrian Cole's face lingered in her mind more than she cared to admit. His apology had been sincere, his eyes no longer cold, but thoughtful. Across town, Adrian found himself unable to forget her too. Something about Amara's honesty had shaken him. He, who had everything, felt empty. She, who had nothing, carried herself with grace. One evening, he sat in his office again, staring out at the Lagos skyline. Maybe, he thought, wealth isn't everything. On impulse, he picked up his phone and called Nina. "I want to set up a scholarship fund," he said. "For young women like her, hard-working, honest, and from low-income families. Call it the Grace Foundation." Nina smiled on the other end. "That's a wonderful idea, sir. And," he added, "make sure the first beneficiary is Amara Okafor." The next morning, Amara received a call from an unknown number. "Hello," she answered cautiously. "Good morning, Miss Amara," a woman's voice said warmly. "This is Nina from Cole Enterprises. Mr. Adrian Cole would like to see you tomorrow. It's about something important." Amara's heart skipped. Is there a problem?" "No problem at all. Just come to the office at 10. When the call ended, she stood frozen in her tiny room, her hands trembling. Why would a billionaire want to see her again? The next morning, Lagos woke up restless, as it always did. The hum of generators mixed with the shouts of bus conductors and the aroma of street food. Amara stood in front of her mirror, nervously adjusting the only decent outfit she owned, a neatly pressed white blouse and a navy blue skirt. Her shoes were slightly worn, but she had polished them until they gleamed. Her heart pounded. She hadn't been inside that glass tower since the day she was humiliated. A part of her didn't want to go back, but curiosity, and something deeper, urged her on. "Maybe he just wants to thank me again," she whispered to herself. But the thought didn't convince her. Billionaires didn't summon waitresses for casual thank yous. After saying a quick prayer, she locked her door and boarded a Danfo heading toward Victoria Island. The ride felt longer than usual. Every bump, every stop-and-go of Lagos traffic, seemed to stretch her nerves thinner. When she finally reached the Coal Enterprises Tower, the morning sun was high and bright. She stood at the entrance for a moment, staring at her reflection in the glass doors, wondering what someone like her was doing here. Inside, the same receptionist from before looked surprised to see her. But this time, her tone was polite. "Miss Amara, Mr. Cole is expecting you. Please, go right up." Amara blinked. "Thank you," she murmured, stepping into the elevator. Her palms were damp. The soft ding of each passing floor echoed in her ears like a heartbeat. When the doors opened, she stepped into the same elegant office, wide windows, polished wood, and the faint scent of expensive cologne. Adrian Cole stood by the window, phone in hand, dressed in a tailored navy suit. He turned when he heard her footsteps. "Amara," he said with a small smile. "Thank you for coming." She clasped her hands together. "Good morning, sir. Please, sit." She hesitated, then sat down on the edge of the chair, feeling out of place among all the luxury. Adrian ended his call and sat opposite her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then he said, "I've been thinking a lot about you since that day." Amara's eyes widened slightly. "About me, sir?" "Yes." He leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk. "You reminded me that not everyone in this city is driven by greed. You returned my wallet even when you needed money. That kind of honesty is rare." She lowered her gaze, embarrassed. "I just did what was right." "And that," he said softly, "is exactly why I called you here." He reached into a folder and pulled out a document. The heading read, "The Grace Foundation." Amara frowned. "What's this?" "It's a charitable scholarship program I'm launching," he explained. "For young women from low-income families, people who have potential but lack opportunity. I've named it after your mother, Grace." Amara froze. For a second, she couldn't breathe. You named it after my mother?" Adrian nodded. "Yes. You told me she's been sick, and from everything I've learned about you, she raised you well. The world needs more people like her, and you." Her eyes filled with tears she couldn't hold back. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything. You're the first beneficiary. The foundation will cover your education if you still wish to finish your degree. And your mother's ongoing medical care, all expenses covered." Amara's lips trembled. "Why would you do this for me?" Adrian's gaze softened. "Because you reminded me that wealth means nothing without compassion. Somewhere along the way, I forgot that." For the first time, Amara saw not the cold billionaire the world feared, but a man who looked tired, even lonely. The walls he'd built around himself seemed to crack. "Thank you, sir," she whispered, wiping her tears. "My mother will be so happy. She always said doing good brings blessings." He smiled faintly. "She's right." After their meeting, Adrian insisted his driver take Amara home. As the car rolled through the busy streets of Lagos, she stared out the window, her heart overwhelmed with gratitude. The city looked different, brighter somehow. For the first time in years, hope felt real. When she got to her neighborhood, children playing football stopped to stare at the sleek black car. Her neighbors peeked from behind curtains, whispering, "Amara, na who carry you come like this?" one of them teased. She only smiled and waved. For once, she didn't care about gossip. At home, she rushed to the hospital to tell her mother everything. Mama Grace's eyes widened when she heard the news. "He did what?" "He created a foundation, Mama. In your name." Her mother clasped her hands, tears rolling down her cheeks. "God is faithful. You see, Amara, honesty never fails." They hugged, both crying and laughing at the same time. Meanwhile, back in Victoria Island, Adrian sat in his office, staring at the foundation proposal. 4 years, he had chased success like it was the only thing that mattered. Long hours, ruthless deals, no room for emotion. Yet somehow, one small act of kindness from a girl he'd wrongly accused had opened his eyes. He remembered his late mother, a schoolteacher who had believed in fairness and kindness above everything. "Don't let success harden you, Adrian," she used to say. "Money is loud, but goodness is quiet." He had forgotten her words, until Amara. For the first time in years, Adrian left work early. He drove himself, without his driver, through the crowded streets, past the markets and noise and laughter that made Lagos what it was. He wanted to see the city not from behind tinted glass, but as it truly was, raw, alive, human. He stopped at a roadside suya stand, something he hadn't done in a decade. The vendor recognized him from somewhere but didn't say a word, just smiled and served him respectfully. As Adrian stood there eating suya under the flickering streetlights, he realized how much he'd been missing. Money had bought him comfort, but not peace. And somehow, that poor waitress had given him a glimpse of both. Days turned into weeks. The Grace Foundation was officially launched at a quiet ceremony in Victoria Island. Reporters attended, snapping photos as Adrian Cole announced the program. Beside him stood Amara, nervous but radiant in a simple blue dress. She gave a short speech, heartfelt, trembling, honest. "I used to believe that people like me didn't matter. But today, I've learned that one good choice, even when no one is watching, can change everything. This foundation isn't about me, it's about hope." The crowd applauded. Cameras flashed. Adrian looked at her with quiet pride. He saw not a waitress anymore, but a woman of strength and grace. After the event, as they stood on the balcony overlooking the city, Adrian turned to her. "Thank you, Amara. You've given me something no one else ever did." She smiled softly. "What's that, sir?" "A reason to believe in people again." For a moment, silence hung between them, gentle, warm, and unspoken. The city stretched below, glittering with lights, the heartbeat of Lagos pulsing strong. And though neither of them said it aloud, they both felt it, that strange quiet pull between two worlds that weren't so different after all. Thanks for watching. Tell us, what time is it and where are you watching from? Drop it in the comment section, backhand index pointing down. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories like this.